Let's move Michael down a little bit. There
Don't
you
move me
go.
down.
I'll move you down.
Piece of
Wait,
human
Michael, where do
garbage.
you live? Why is it still sun, man? I still see sun behind you.
Behind me?
Yeah, what's that? There's like
I
light
live in
behind
I
you.
live in Texas, dude.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
It's sunny until 9 o'clock here.
All right. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Okay. You guys ready to fire up a excellent podcast full of a whole bunch of fun stuff and good topics and everything else? Yeah?
Yeah, good wholesome
If I said yes,
podcast.
would you believe me?
No. All right, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to League of Legends Anonymous, episode 195. With me this week is Michael Ponderous Sad Lion. What's up,
I'm
buddy?
not I'm not emo, Blake. You just say that I am.
But you sound so sad, like all the time. It's
Not all
so
the time.
it's an easy connection to make, friend.
Sometimes I sound angry.
I'm not
Those are,
sad,
those are
Blake.
my two
I'm
settings.
I have angst.
Yeah,
Swish.
it's a serious condition.
Yeah, the swish, by the way, was your long Egon-like hair that I was
It's not
swishing
even
this.
that long anymore. Okay, it's
Dude,
kind of long.
It's
you
pretty
have
long.
a huge poof
It
on. You look like goddamn
it
Jigglypuff up in here.
it grows very fast. I don't. It's a curse. I
It
didn't
grows
ask
very
for
fast because I sleep for 18 hours a day.
it. Bitch. I got less than the national average last night.
You know what's
Suck
funny
a
is
dick.
just 5 seconds before we started streaming, new guy who we're about to introduce was like, "Damn, how is it so bright where you are?" And then all of a sudden, it's complete and total darkness in the room you're recording in. So, oh
I work
well.
in darkness.
I, I, damn it, I was gonna do a Batman, and then I made myself laugh, and it just came out like Tim Taylor, like, "Arr!"
I work alone.
I work alone.
I'm Batman.
Anyway, all right, cool. New guy. We have Ollie, who's trying
Hey,
out for the podcast. Hey, Ollie, what's
yeah.
up, dude?
Hey, man, what's up?
Nothing much. So, tell the people about you. What is your gamer tag?
My gamer tag on NA is Tycho Tumpard. Good luck spelling that. Right now I'm Plat 5. Last season I peaked at Plat 3, but I'm still hard stuck, like low Plat right now. I usually just play top or ADC, whatever the meta wants to tell me to play. I consider myself more of a Fiora main. I used to play a lot of Fiora top, but I have like a small champion pool. My ADC pool is a little bit bigger. I play like about 6 or 7 ADCs.
I hope you're ready to
Um,
film next season, bitch.
what?
Yeah,
What'd you say?
he said he hopes
Ghost
Get
you're
all
ready
Rider?
to
those
fill next season.
get
Oh,
all those
fuck that.
ranks to
Fuck that, dude.
something.
I've
So,
I don't
There's
know.
I,
one role I will never play. I've never played jungle in my life. I've tried it on 3 occasions. It's just,
Jungle is the role for retards. Anyone can
dude,
play it.
I can't fucking. I play like the easiest champ, like a Moo. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, what do I start? When do I
Just
gank? Like, what
play
is this
Master
shit?
Yi. Everybody thinks I'm good at
yeah,
that champion, and it's all a fucking sham. I'm actually brain dead as
it
fuck.
is all an
I don't know what I'm
elaborate
doing.
ruse.
Fuck
No, the
yeah.
champion is easy. It actually drives itself. You didn't have to click anything. He just stabs
Mm-hmm.
shit. So,
Or just go mid and farm the lane.
so you said top and ADC. That is an odd combination. I don't think I've ever seen that many people who go from top to ADC because usually it's completely different, like playing a bruiser versus, you know.
Yeah, I think like the reason like I've noticed in my pool is like I don't play. I have maybe 1 or 2 AP champs that I play,
Hmm.
but I play mostly like attack damage focused champs and like melees because I like dishing out damage consistently. I don't like waiting on cooldowns for spells. That's why I like Fiora. Or I can play something like if I have to play more like team fight, I'll play Gnar or something. But ADC is like I always got to auto attack. That's my main role. That's why I like ADC because I can always dish out damage.
Well, yeah, Nar is
Like
like
mid lane
Nar makes
sucks.
sense as a fit for somebody who
Yeah,
likes to play ADC because you get that constant auto attack chase and orb
yeah,
blocking is very important in many Nar's
yeah.
kit. But like Fiora is, I didn't see that coming, right?
Well,
But
also I play Camille too because
oh,
they're
cool.
kind of
So
similar. Yeah,
like this meta shift has probably been pretty fantastic for you. 'Cause you're like, oh, I can just play this shit. I play
yeah,
top, bottom, and
yeah.
now I'm good.
Conquer when Conquer came out, I was really good. I was so excited. I mean, like right now it's still like Klepto and Grasp. People
Mm.
still think like one of those two is better. Like it's those top three runes, but I don't always take Conqueror because like there's times you can take Klepto, there's times you can take Grasp. Um, but the thing that sucks about Conqueror is fucking Tryndamere, man. I absolutely hate that champion. He's insane, especially when they change Infinity Edge. Michael, I know you play Tryndamere, so that's why you're laughing. I seriously hate that champion. It's insane how you can just destroy me in one item. One item.
Dude,
So
so yeah, it's been an ongoing thing about why Tryndamere. Like a lot of people from our Discord have been picking up Tryndamere lately,
Because
and
I'm a
it's
natural born leader, Blake.
is that what it is? It's
Maybe
your
you've heard of it.
natural vampiric charisma from sitting in the dark all day and having
Well,
a
I
hairstyle
mean,
from the 1600s.
bitch, fuck do you know about hairstyles from the 1600s in the
I'm just
first
saying, you look
place?
like you should be wearing like a poofy silk shirt with like a very tall neck with ruffles on it. You know, that could double down for a pirate. Oh, I got it. The dude from oh fuck, Soul Calibur, like the guy that has the rapier. His name's like
I never played
Raphael or
Soul
something.
Calibur as a kid.
That guy. You could be that guy.
Well, I'm sure I'd appreciate this joke if I knew what that guy looked like.
No, he's dashingly handsome. He just looks like he's
Oh.
from the 1600s. Because he is, I think. So anyway, hey, so I want to go on a rant real quick. Because I've been saving this rant up for a while, and it just absolutely pisses me off with this new meta, and everybody's taking teleport as an ADC. And I want to tell you why in every elo short of Challenger, that is a really stupid idea for a 2v2, right? So, why does it exist now? Right? Why are people taking teleport when they never have before? Heal didn't really get nerfed. Nothing got changed on it that I know of. Right? So, why teleport all of a sudden for ADCs? Okay. The answer is because bot lane has become a gory kill fest of murder and bruisers. And so if you go bot, there's a ton of all-ins. And those all-ins can cause you to get almost killed, pushed out of lane so you need to recall, and then you can teleport back so you don't get behind an EXP against someone who's just going to rip your face off like a bruiser and you have like little to nothing to do because like heal doesn't keep you in lane, heal keeps you alive, right? So that's why you would potentially need that spell, right? But that comes with the inherent high stupid pressure that comes out of very high elo games because those guys, they don't let you fuck around. They will kill you if you are low enough. Like that is what they're out to do 99% of the time in lane. I have seen this trickle down to elos that are taking teleport now that don't even understand why they're doing it. And they're just using it as a get back to lane quickly button. And it's terrible for that. I mean, it's just really, 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 really bad if you're like, oh, well, I'll just back normally and then teleport to lane instead of walking there. So glad I took this.
Hey,
Okay,
I think that top laners at low elo shouldn't even take teleport. You
right.
know,
So let's talk
take
a little
ignite.
bit about the like 3 reasons why I think that is the stupidest fucking thing that you can do at any elo short of like Challenger. Number one, heal is a customly made spell for an ADC, and it gives both people not only movement speed, but health in lane. It literally makes the difference in a 2-on-2 fight because it's a 2-person summoner spell. You get twice the value from having a partner nearby, right? Which means you get 1.5 to 2 times the effect of a normal summoner spell on a short cooldown, right? So you can literally just win 2v2s by the virtue of the fact that you have heal. Okay. 2, it's not just health, it's also move speed, which can get you out of things in a pinch, right? Whereas teleport will do absolutely nothing for you. Heal will also give you some mobility and allow you to escape from, say, a gank, or maybe dodge a skill shot unexpectedly, or do a lot of things, or it can help your partner do those things, right? And 3, unless you are using teleport to its maximum effect, you will get dog shit out of returning to lane quicker in lower elos because you're not using it properly. You have like a much weaker 2v2 than your opponent does, and there's no way in which you actually meaningfully contribute to a fight with that summoner spell. So, don't do it. It's a bad
But
idea.
Blake, I actually was watching Sneaky stream the other day,
Hmm.
and he took teleport. So I think I'm just gonna disregard everything you said, and I'm gonna take teleport instead. Okay? Is that
Sneaky's bench, so he's irrelevant for
Yeah, no,
those guys.
it's an academy player. What are you following an
irrelevant?
academy player for? Doing what they're doing. I'm ashamed of you, Michael.
There's 2 occasions when I've seen people take TP, and
Okay.
it's not bad. One is if they're playing Lucian, because Lucian is he's a pretty aggressive laner if he has the right support, and if he takes Fleet especially, he survives with a sustain, or if he has a sustained support, or the support only takes a TP. I've only seen it on Fiddlesticks because Fiddlestick does he really need Ignite? His poke with his silence and his fear is pretty fucking strong. His level 6 is really really strong.
Really?
So that's
You'd take Ignite on Fiddle? I'd take either.
no, I don't play support, but I've only seen it on TP with Fiddle. That's it. That's the only support I've seen it take it.
I
Because
mean,
I guess his damage is pretty strong early on that he doesn't like to take the ignite. He like probably doesn't need it.
I just the problem with teleport at low elo is like think about using every other summoner spell. Like with the exception of Flash has a lot of depth. The other and I mean there's depth in all of them, sure, but like the rest of the summoner spells are really straightforward except for Flash and teleport, and even Flash can be made simple. Like I'm about to die, I'm gonna flash away. But like
Mm-hmm.
you think about Ignite, you can use Ignite improperly, sure, but at the end of the day, if you press it, it does what it's intended to do, no matter what. Whether
Mm-hmm.
you're getting maximum effectiveness out of it or not is a different thing, but you can
I
get
mean, I would argue
no.
that, to be totally honest, Exhaust is better on Fiddle, I think, in most situations.
Yeah, I'd probably take Exhaust, but I mean,
And I mean, the reason for
either
that
way.
is Fiddle is literally made out of like burlap and straw. Like that is not a tough champion. He life steals, like that's his thing, right? And he has the crow that bounces the silence and the fear. He does not have durability at all. So if you pop him, you can actually kill him. Exhaust works great for that because it's like, oh, you're trying to pop me? I'm going to life drain you while you're doing less damage to me. Also, if you're going to try to get out of my ultimate, you're going to be slowed,
Well, it also works
you know.
because
And people can't separate as fast from the crow.
yeah, exactly. People can't separate from the crow. People can't leave his tether because I'm about 99% sure that if the person is within range of exhaust while you're draining them, you can cast exhaust during the tether without breaking it. Most
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're within channel range, you can cast summoner spells during.
exactly, yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
much every channel works like that. Even like you can ignite people while you're Malzahar ulting them,
Yeah, I was
assuming
gonna say, I
they're
remember Malzahar ult used to be a thing where the ult was like slightly longer than the ignite
ignite.
was.
Did they end up fixing that at some point?
I honestly don't
I
know.
think it's
Oh,
still
by the
Never
way,
heard of
I
him.
can confirm this pike bug thing that we were talking about, where if your inventory's full, you don't get the money.
Oh no, I went through that. I still got the money. I still
Yeah,
got the
see, I
money. I
like
know.
you hover
Yeah.
it, so I don't know now whether or not it is bugged that you don't get the money, or whether it's bugged that it doesn't show me on my ult count that you got the money. Because like if you hover his ult at the
Um,
bottom, it says like X amount of money given out,
yeah.
basically. And I had one that we were like halfway through the game, and I had killed like 10 people with my ult, and the counter was still at 0.
Hmm.
And I'm like, wait a wait a minute. Like, I know it actually gave me money once because they died during the X, so then I get the money, right? Which is a weird interaction, but totally happens. And it didn't show up on the list. And I was like, well, maybe it just didn't because I got the money and that's a bug. Nope. I killed a bunch of people with it after that and still no money. And I was like, well, do they have full inventories? And they did, but then they said they definitely did get the money.
So it's probably a bug.
So it's probably a
Yeah.
bug with
Yeah,
the
but it used to
display
be a
of
bug.
the
It used to be
number.
like glitch. Like nobody would get, like they wouldn't get the money if their inventory was full.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, you had the first cut thing you have to click, or
Mm-hmm.
your cut is what it's called, and you have to click it. But no, apparently that's not a thing. It's just a bug on the alt, probably, like on
Mm-hmm.
the readout for Pike. So, anywho, all right. I have completely tangented us to death. We did talk about why I think TP is bad in the bot lane for lower elos, and I hope everybody listens to that because it's truly infuriating to see people taking TP. It's super selfish because you're just leaving with your summoner spell, you're leaving your partner out to dry,
Mm-hmm.
and that sucks. Particularly when they're playing somebody who has to like dive in there to make something happen, like Pike or Leona or Shin. It's just like, well, thanks for that. Now you're fucked. I didn't take anything to help you,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll get to lane back faster. Ha ha. I was like, mm. So
Like after this, I'm gonna play a game with you, and I'm gonna go Master Yi 80 carry, and I'm gonna take teleport. Are you ready?
that's a really good idea, Michael. And
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, I'm gonna change my summoner name to Tycho Tumphard, and you can
Oh,
just
okay.
play with me, and that'll be super fun for both of us. Ignore the fact that my account looks completely different. It's totally me.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you've never steered me wrong before,
No,
so
no,
I'll just
I wouldn't
blindly
lie
believe
to
you.
you. Not with this on his face.
It's a joke that's really gonna play well with the podcast
No, dude, it's
audience.
all on video
Ooh.
now. Everybody,
Can't see. Does everybody watch it on
yeah,
video
everybody
though?
watches it on video now. We're super
I don't
cool these
know
days.
about that.
Yeah, we're huge. Yeah.
We
So,
have tens of
we
listeners,
have dozens of them. So,
Does
guys,
enough to
Yeah.
fill a small classroom at this point.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, depending on how small the classroom is, like maybe at a really rural school where it's mostly ag focused, you know,
Maybe enough to fill a small room closet. I don't
like
know.
where we talk mostly about what's new with corn and
Are there things that are new with corn, Blake? You're from a rural background.
well, I actually there is something that's new with corn. I just found out that you can actually, the little silks that come on the inside of corn, right? You
Yeah,
open it up and they have those little annoying strands, right?
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I found this out this 4th of July. This is brand new information for me. If you microwave the whole corn cob in the microwave for 4 minutes an ear, so if it's one ear, you do 4 minutes. If it's two ears, you do eight. If you do three, it's 12, so on and so forth. And then you cut off the bottom and you just slide it out like you are like I don't
Just
know,
yank it.
trying to think of like you're squeezing out toothpaste or something, right? So
Uh-huh.
the corn cob's gonna come out the bottom, and you're gonna squeeze the top like this, right? And gradually you'll just be holding the green bits in your hand, and then the other bits will have fallen out, right?
Yeah.
All the silks come off with it, so you just have ready to eat toasted delicious corn and no silks. So
This
that's
is my
new with
favorite
corn.
That's great. Yeah. There's
corn-focused
definitely corn around me.
agricultural
I'm gonna go do that right
podcast.
now.
Yeah, this is that's a 60-second tip for corn. League of
Corn
Legends'
mechanics.
newest champion.
Blake
Uh,
is slowly evolving the corn meta.
hey, dude, I'll tell you this. There was like this guy who had a truck. Like, maybe this is a total Missouri thing. I don't know. But this guy just had a truck, and the bed of the truck was full of corn, and it said like corn $1. And if
No,
you're
it's a
gonna,
Midwest thing.
yeah, if you're gonna go buy corn from that fucking guy, because his corn is always kick ass. whoever that guy is. And I mean, it's not just whenever I say that guy, I don't mean this particular individual like John that sells corn. I mean the guy who's selling fresh corn out of the back of his truck. Because that shit is always
what if it's
kicking
the
ass.
back of a white van?
The corn
Yes,
seller
this is all the same thing.
archetype
Just
is
don't
what you
get
have
in the
for.
van to get the corn. And because you
Also
will not get corn, you will get corn hold.
Corn hold.
Yeah. Like,
We're on the same
totally
wavelength.
different type of corn. That's a totally different corn meta. So, all right, guys. This week we are talking about what? Game focus, right?
I was thinking we could open up with about a 5-minute corn discussion.
Well,
I
we've
do.
already checked that off
We've
the
done that.
list, bud.
Could we talk about corn some more? I was really
Well, we could
felt like I
like
was learning a
devolve
lot.
into a discussion on ethanol and why it's fantastic. Yeah, it's nature's fuel.
George W. Bush, something agriculture. I just summed up the entire ethanol debate in about 5 words.
I didn't
You're
know it was a
welcome.
debate. I just thought it was awesome. We could make fuel out of corn.
Yeah, but isn't it shitty fuel?
I don't know. I
Pretty
don't
sure
get
it
the,
just like is.
maybe.
I'm pretty sure ethanol is just like strictly worse than like regular gasoline in terms of powering your car.
So I watched this show called The Colony once, and the premise of it was that like a catastrophic event has happened and like most of the world's population is dead, and they've handpicked a whole bunch of reality show style survivors, and they're supposed to like be dumped into an urban environment, find a place to live, secure that place, and like Mad Max together some shit for so long until they can stabilize their community, right? And these two guys ended up making a old diesel truck run off of wood gas. And what wood gas is, and that's I didn't even know that was a thing, right? Because like this old engineer guy was like, yeah, in World War II, the Germans ran out of gas because all their gas was going to the war effort. So they created these bins on the sides of the car. It was like a furnace, and you basically burn wood in them, and it like puts off this kind of like flammable gas that's in wood, I guess, released when it is burned, and then they capture it and then funnel it straight into an engine. And then the engine can run off of it as if it were actual like liquid gas, right? And so they built one of these things on the side of this truck that they would use to escape at the end of the experiment, because if they could either establish a society or flee to a different area altogether, they accomplished whatever their goal was of survival, right? So this guy made this fucking huge truck work off of burning wood. And so I'm thinking, if wood gas works to start a truck, how shitty of a fuel does ethanol have to be in order to be too crappy to use?
I didn't say it was too crappy to use. I just said it's strictly worse than gasoline.
Well, yeah, I mean, but this guy's burning wood, Michael. I didn't even think a car
yeah,
would
but do you
start
think
with that. Like,
there
you
might
have
be a reason
wood-burning
we've moved
stove.
away from just like cutting down a tree to start our cars. You know, we've evolved past that as a civilization, and I'm grateful for it. You know,
Yeah, but I'm
I
just
don't.
saying.
I don't have woodcutter arms. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just saying, in a pinch, if it's between me and a tree, it's gonna be
Well,
me.
Yeah.
That tree's gonna fuel my car.
I bet this is what you
I will
thought you
make
were
a car out of a tree if I need
talk
to.
about, Ollie. Is this what you were looking forward to?
Yeah, talking about. Actually, I never even knew. That's pretty cool though. I'm
The-
trying like
the
so
wood
like
gas
is it,
thing,
like,
that is fucking
the
cool
wood
though,
gas-
isn't
so, like,
it?
Isn't like the little
I'm-
pieces of wood that like flick off from like?
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the embers. It's nothing. It's just like the guy showed the contraption, and basically, like they create like charcoal or whatever on the bottom, and in the process of doing that, it like just puts off a whole bunch of like combustible gas, and if you capture it and funnel it into an engine, totally works. Like, there's got to be a YouTube video or something on it. It was like the coolest like DIY this guy made his car go thing that I have ever seen. Michael, You have no light in your room. It is
man.
literally like you are recording in a coffin. Jesus
We should have
Christ.
we should have
I
a song
wanna
playing
be.
like "Hello, Darkness, My Old Friend" just playing in the background.
Don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want. That's me, but with the interior of a coffin and with the lighting on the
I,
podcast
I
or
want to
something.
be a 16-year-old goth vampire. I'm gonna
I mean,
dress
that
for
wood
that
burning
job.
thing is pretty cool, but I'm a millennial and we're like professionally unimpressed by things.
We're
So I don't know.
professionally sad and dejected.
Okay, wait. All right, I listen. I know this is a League of Legends podcast, and I'm
Mhm.
getting to it. All right, I'm getting to it. But my new theory is that like generationally, people my age are a micro generation in between. Like you're a Zennial,
Mhm.
half millennial, half Gen X. I think that I'm also in a micro generation that's half millennial, half Gen Z, which would
Really?
also be Zennial.
So you
But
are like half
I have no
millennial,
I
half
have
depressed
no
about the housing
data
market.
or facts. I didn't get a made up degree for something like charting population demographics, so I don't have any actual credibility, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case. So
Okay.
don't just
Okay.
listen to me. Because think about it. Because when I was a kid, we grew up at school. We had like the really shitty white dinosaur computers, and
Oh, the big IMAX.
there were no like when I was a kid, there were no iPhones yet. Like they were like the still like brick cell phones. Like they were like this big and they were really shitty. And then flip phones and then
Yeah.
like smartphones. Like I've seen all of it and I feel like the marker of Gen Z is like you grew up with an iPhone in your hand. You know what I mean?
Is that it? Is that what the
I mean,
marker
it's
is?
not necessarily, but
Because I mean, I grew up
Define
kind
like
of
growing
in.
up. When's like so what? Like elementary school?
Yeah,
right. Like that's yeah.
Mm.
Like if the iPhone was around when you were like in elementary school.
yeah, no,
You
we
know?
just we had we didn't even have computers. We had worksheets,
I
and so
also
like
had those.
I had to get
Like
my learning done on dead trees. I started this fight against trees at a young age, and I continue it now through my legal profession. You know, but that
I
being
mean,
said, like
it's
they're like
between trees and
calculator. What's that? You a scientist? Here's your abacus, kid. Time to learn,
okay. Here's
right?
the thing. When I was a kid, teachers were still saying, "What do you think
Don't
you're gonna
use it.
have a calculator in your
Yeah.
pocket?"
That was
That's
the
the
dumbest
Yeah,
shit they
marker.
ever
that is
said.
the ultimate fucked up teacher argument that they just
Wait, were you guys
completely
ever
lost.
forced to learn cursive? I was
Yes, I
forced
had
to
to
learn
learn.
cursive
I
like
Oh
had to
yeah,
learn
I had to
cursive
learn
too.
cursive for sure.
and then
Yeah.
like my teacher actually called my mom saying your son's not learning cursive well. He's got to
Cursive
learn
is
well.
such a
And it's like
dead.
he's gonna need it in high school. I'm like,
Listen,
no,
everybody who still writes in cursive
he's in
is
jail.
just like either 60 or a douchebag.
I was gonna
100%
say a
of the time.
60-year-old woman, because
Yeah,
yeah,
but I
it's
know
like
people who
really
still try to
bubbly
write in cursive, and it's because they're douchebags.
Yeah,
Because
because
everybody knows that cursive is just strictly inferior, and it really doesn't
well,
save
look,
that much time.
every old man that's not like way old, they all write in print. Like
Mhm.
it's
Exactly.
only like older women or the very old that write in cursive. Like very, very old. Like
World War II veteran old.
no, I mean like
They had to write
leather-bound
to their
books
dearest
old.
Martha.
They're like, let me write that on a doily. You know, I can cross stitch you a message in cursive. You know, that's the last time I
It would
think you're gonna
save you
see it.
time because you didn't have to always lift your needle. Makes
You know
perfect
what
sense.
I do kind of wonder though, if we do get away from like cursive, how are people gonna read fancy greeting cards?
Dude, it's
The
the
You're just
fancy
gonna
computers are
get
greeting
it. You're
better.
card's
gonna be
fault.
like, what do they want? What
I can
language
read
is this?
cursive. I just can't write in cursive.
We can read because we've been taught, but like, what if they stop
Right.
teaching it?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I'm just saying, but
I guess
you've
they'll
got
just
the
have to
key.
use print like fucking Americans and have to switch to Arial or Times New Roman and stop
Yeah,
using
but
godless shitty fonts that nobody can read.
godless cursive with their
Listen, all right,
satanic swoops and
Times New
swirls.
Times New Roman is the official font of the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
I
but I
just
mean,
made that
what's
up,
the
but it sounds cool.
no? What's the fancy print though? You know, because you got to have a fancy print.
There's that. Well, I don't know. Is Magneto considered?
That's an
Is
X-Man, not a
Magneto?
print.
It is. It's also a font. Look it up. Is Magneto cursive or print? I'm looking this up. Handwriting matters. Cursive doesn't. I don't care about your opinion, New York Times.
I think they were actually trying to help you. I think they were like, just have good handwriting in print. Don't have cursive. And you're like, fuck you, New York Times, and your piece of shit
What
argument.
type of font is Magneto? Magneto font family. Um,
It's a great
it
podcast, guys.
turned to
about
geometric streamlined strips prepared by American industrial designers for the inspiration of this series, and its three variation of letter spacing. Magneto recalls the chrome strip lettering laid along the rounded shapes of refrigerator doors and automobile trunks in the 40s and 50s. And it's this doesn't tell me anything. It's just telling me about the licensing. I don't.
Yeah. Is it
All right, this has
licensed
been
by the
a.
Brotherhood of Evil Mutants?
I get it, Blake. It's also an X-Man. I seen the movies. All right, they're not that good.
Wait, it's not movies. It's comics books, you fucking millennial piece of shit.
Oh yeah, Blake. Yeah, let me just read all my comic books. Let me just read everything like
Let
a
me just
fucking pleb.
read
Let me
without
just
having
use
medium
my brain
delivered to
to
me
media.
visually and audially so I can lazily input
Don't.
information.
Everybody wants you to act like comic books are the best thing in the goddamn world, and like the reason that they're
Ugh.
gone is because they suck.
They're not
Tell
gone.
me I'm wrong.
They're still
Well, yeah.
there.
Oh
No,
yeah,
they're
they're
still
not
there.
gone. They're still around. For
They're just
people that are
anime
boring.
books so they can be digested by your shitty generation.
I could never
You're
get
more
into
of a
anime. I don't know how
weeb than
people
I
get
am.
into that
I'm
shit.
gonna
How do you
have big,
watch
huge
anime?
eyes, Michael.
Yeah.
How can I be a weeb with these tiny little slit eyes? Can't be. You have to have your Pokemon ass eyeballs. Your generation even has bigger eyes than me. It's wrong. It's
I'm
hateful.
gonna look up a scientific study to
I can confirm it right here.
conclude that fact.
So, back to League of Legends, Game Sense. So, we we were talking about Game Sense, and like generally, what the term means whenever I say Game Sense is like, how able are you to take in information? That's how we're defining it this time. I don't mean Game Sense like how much do you know about the game or like what are your instincts. Like this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your ability to focus on multiple things and take in information in League, right? And the things that I really want to cover today, if I remember to cover all of them, is freeing up opportunity to have game sense, right? Having game sense on a macro level, in other words, taking in information by just glancing at the mini map, right? And then taking in information by absence, right? Because those are huge things. So let's start with the most basic one, right? Of like freeing up your mind so you can do things appropriately, right? So I want to give you guys an example. I played a game of Lulu about a year and a half ago. And this is like an epiphany moment. I know this is weird, right? It was a year and a half ago. I remember it super clearly because I had played a bunch of games of Lulu, and the champion never really like. I don't really like the champion, right? It doesn't really click with me super
Yeah,
well.
I always try to get Blake to be my Lulu bitch, and he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I just don't like the champion. It's not like my new
I
main
mean,
Braum. Blah. But anyway, so I was playing Lulu, and all of Lulu, like aside from a Q, every ability, well, Q and ult, her other two abilities have, use on a teammate, use on an enemy effects that are different. And juggling that can be a bit of a pain in the ass because if you make the wrong decision, like you go for an offensive play when you really needed to shield your friend, game over, like you've just failed, right? Or whenever you polymorph somebody instead of giving somebody movement speed, or you gave somebody movement speed instead of polymorphing a diver, the whole team fight can be completely fucked, right? So that is a champion that in order for you to play, you have to take in a shitload of information just by looking at the screen. You have to be able to see these things coming a little bit in advance so you know whether to keep it in your pocket or whether to blow your ability. And I played one team fight where I was playing Lulu and all of a sudden I felt as though my vision just zoomed out, right? And I didn't look at my character or what my character was doing. I just kind of took in all sorts of information on the map and I was like, oh, this guy needs to be healed or this guy needs to be ulted. Now I need to put a shield on this guy. Oh, here's this guy coming in from the backside. We got to polymorph him before he kills my backline. You know, it's just doing all of this stuff, and I wasn't even remotely paying attention to where I was on the map or my character model. I just knew.
He was a balding, slightly overweight Neo, is what he's saying.
Right.
Basically.
That's
Think about it
exactly
like
what
that.
I am saying. I had that moment where the bullets just stopped and they fell to the ground. And then I started to bend over, but I realized I have old man arthritis, so I didn't. But I could have with some effort. Anyway, that being said, like I had that moment I went, "Oh wow." Like I just mentally zoomed out. And the first time that happens, it feels really cool because you're like, damn, I just went like overpower mode
Hmm.
where I could just see and everything. I was able to react accordingly, which is super damn awesome. Now, how do we get there? Like, how do you get to that level with a champion? Ollie, why don't you jump in?
I know what you're talking about. That moment, you're just like you just feel invincible. I usually really feel that sometimes when I'm playing ADC. So it's just that I already know what in a team fight what's going to happen, what to expect, what cooldowns I need to watch out for, and I just wait for that one moment. Um, I think it's just play. You have to keep playing the game. You have to keep playing that champion. I know one thing
Okay,
is
so
like
you have to play that champion. So let's focus in on that, right?
yeah,
So,
everyone says like you should one trick or like keep a very small champion pool, and I believe that's an extent. Um, you should have a pool that that can fit certain team comps, but it should be something you're very comfortable with, and you can just if you pull it out, you're good with them. So you need to master these champions so you understand what they're doing, and that you can enter that autopilot mode because then you
How
can just focus on the other champions,
how many
the enemies.
interactions do you have to learn for each champion in League of Legends? Think about it. It's thousands upon
Hmm.
thousands. It's interactions with every other champion in the game. It's interactions with the environment. It's interactions at different stages of the game. Do you know what to do with your champion at 3 minutes? And do you know what to do with your champion at 60 minutes? Like,
Hmm.
and that's why you really can't spread yourself thin learning like more than 3 or 4 champions because
okay, so
you can't learn thousands of interactions times
Uh,
4 times 10 times 20.
I think with champion interactions, like knowing what a champion does is different. Like it's different in that sense. Like you can know what every champion does.
Right.
You can still have a bigger pool because you can know what to expect.
You have to know it
Like
instinctually
I
though. You can't know it
yeah.
on an intellectual level. There has
okay,
to be no
so
thought behind
let's
it.
let's back up. There's something called the conscious competence model that we've talked about before, right? And that model basically says that any time that you are learning a skill, you start off as being unconsciously incompetent, right? So you
Okay.
go, I don't know that I'm bad at this, or I don't even know that it's a skill. Then
Hmm.
you have conscious incompetence, which means that I know I am bad and I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to get better. And then you have conscious competence, which is as long as I am thinking about what it is I am doing, I'm able to do a thing. And then at the maximum level of mastery, you have unconscious competence, meaning
Mm.
I don't even have to think about it, I can just do it on autopilot, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And the more parts of League that you can shift from conscious competence to unconscious competence, the better you will be, right? And
Exactly.
and the bigger your game sense. So let's expand that. One thing that we were just talking about is knowing a champion, right? If you know a champion and you know how to execute their mechanics on an implicit level, right? Like I know how to do Lucian's combo and burst in a quarter of a second with 5 auto attacks or something, right? Like Q, auto, E, auto, blah, blah, blah. And all of this stuff is going off swift and clean because I've done it 1,000 times. I don't have to focus on which buttons I am hitting,
Hmm.
right? Or inputting those mechanics. That's not part of my focus. I'm not using my active brain to do that, which means that I'm not looking at my champion executing the abilities when I'm doing them. Does that make sense? Like,
Hmm.
then my mind is free to look at what the other person is doing and then react to what their champion is shooting at me because I don't have to focus on input execution,
Okay.
right? So I am unconsciously competent at doing those inputs. So now, where as before, if I was only consciously competent, if I was only like, well, I know how to do the solution input, but I have to hit Q, auto attack, E, auto attack, W, auto attack, and I'm consciously inputting those keys to make sure I do
And
it
like, and
just the
that's
way
where
I
I'm
should.
at on Lucian. Like, Blake has seen me play Lucian before, and I can do his combos, but I can't do his combos and play bot lane at the same time because the fact about competency and like having to think about what you're doing is that you can only really think super hard about one thing at a time. You
Hmm.
know, like yes, you can understand how each of the you can have a good understanding of how each of the pieces of the game interlock in an intellectual sense. But that's why a lot of analysts, I think, never get to high elo, is because they know how all the pieces interlock, but they haven't gotten to the point where when they're actually playing, the pieces interlock for them subconsciously.
In
They
real
only have
time.
in real time they don't have unconscious competence. They
Hmm.
just have so much they've just achieved such a high level of conscious competence when they're looking at the game that it is sort of I guess offset by that
Well,
fact.
and you have a lot of players who are like, Blake, I'm gold. How come I can't hit this next level? I know all this shit about the game. And I've coached people and they could tell me, like, this is why I did this. This is blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yep, you're right. Like, you seem to know a lot of shit, but yet you're stuck where you are. And it's probably this. It's probably that they're focusing on the inputs and they're trying to consciously put things in instead of just having a feel for it.
Shit, there
Hmm.
was this silver, or he might have even been bronze at the time, guy that I knew back in the day, and he was also a master Yi main like me, and I did coaching for him. But he could always tell me more about like the like internal League of Legends systems. He knew how armor was calculated. He knew how magic resist was calculated. He knew the exact thresholds for how much HP to armor your ratio should have in its bill. Like he knew all that stuff about League of Legends, but he was a bronze player, you know?
Hmm.
It wasn't from a lack of knowledge. It was just he did dumb shit when he was playing
Hmm.
and but he could probably like I can honestly say at least in terms of just understanding deep underlying League of Legends systems, he probably could tell you more than I could about the game, about how things work with each other. And that's
So, I
why I
mean,
just think that knowing things is overrated sometimes.
oh, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, I've never felt awful for knowing things.
Exactly,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, it adds up. So
Right.
each little
It's I mean
grain
it's a
of
balancing
sand
act.
that you add to your repertoire grows,
Hmm.
Right. I
but
mean, you will win games by having like random bits of knowledge. Like
Yeah.
knowing how Banshee's Veil interacts with every spell in the game end up might end up really helping you like to win something. Like if you know the way that Banshee's Veil interacts with Vi's ultimate, which in this case I'll give you this one for free. She goes all the way through the animation and then lands behind them. It still works the exact same way, it just doesn't knock them up.
Hmm.
So if you know how that works, you can still ult the mage who's built Banshee's Veil at the end of the game and still get your displacement combo with your Q off on her just because you know that piece of information. If you don't know how it works, you can't have the confidence to then act on the sum of that knowledge. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, that
So
makes
like
perfect sense.
yeah,
But I
knowing
mean,
stuff
so
is important, but
so I want to talk about like this, right? So how do we grow our conscious competence into unconscious competence, right? So like if you look at something like ADC, right? And the standard bronze advice is, oh, you'll learn how to CS better, right? Just CS
Hmm.
better, and you'll get out of bronze. And to a certain degree, that is true because if you're CSing better, you're doing a whole bunch of little things better that equate to CSing, right? But if you learn to CS on an unconscious level, like I don't think about CSing when I'm
Hmm.
CSing.
Because
Like
he's
I'm not
playing support all the time.
zing. No, I mean whenever I play an ADC, dumbass. Like so, no, I don't think about it because I'm not like, hey, oh, I'm gonna need to click this minion right now. Oh, okay. Well, now I need to click that minion. That's not what's going on in my head, right?
I've
Like.
watched his stream, and he actually announces every minion he kills.
Oh
He just
God.
doesn't realize he's doing it
And my
subconsciously.
finger is like way
It's
up in the
really
air, and I'm
sad,
like,
and
gotcha.
I haven't had the heart to tell him that he's doing it before now because it's kind of cute. But yeah, it's really bad. He's trying. He's really giving it his all. You
Like
know?
I'm always like, gotcha, and then I clap for myself real quick, and then I do it
Yeah,
again.
and
I
then
clap for myself.
but he thinks he's Rambo mode. He thinks he's like playing really serious. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get these
No,
guys. But it's
no. I'll tell
yeah.
you a funny thing.
He's not even Diamond. That's my other account. Everyone
So,
just thinks it's
what?
him.
So whenever I used to play Rocket League with Brad, who's like super fucking good at Rocket League, right? Like adept, like real good at Rocket League.
He was here last week.
hmm And like, I mean, he's like diamond challenger kind of level in Rocket League. And every time I would go up and hit an aerial, I'd go aerial every every time. And he's like, God damn it, stop doing that. It's not that impressive. And every time I do
Goal.
it, I'm like, aerial, did it, hit an aerial. So same thing. But okay, so whenever I'm CSing, I'm not like I'm gonna hit that one. I'm gonna hit this one next. I'm gonna hit that one next, right? But a bronze player who doesn't have that like core intuition, they have to focus on like, okay, so these are the minions' hit points. Okay, now that is the one I'm gonna click. Now this one's gonna die next. Now I'm gonna need to click here, right?
Hmm.
And while they're doing that, the things that they aren't thinking about are where they need to position relative to their support, where they need to position relative to the other support or the other ADC. Are they within the auto attack range of another ADC? Are they in the auto attack range of the support? Are they about to get harassed? What are the zones of influence that each one of those champions has? Am I in an overlapping zone of influence? You're not thinking of these things, you're just thinking, I need to CS, right? So your game sense is limited by the fact that you don't have a core skill essentially on autopilot,
Hmm.
right? And I mean, Ollie, we've talked about this before on the podcast where I said don't go on autopilot. And now it seems like I'm telling everybody you need to play well enough to go on
Yeah.
autopilot. So what do I
It's
mean whenever I say that?
it's just the small things. Like CSing is one of those things because you need to understand like what are your power spikes with in terms of items and levels because the minions get stronger over time. So I know I like once I get a BF sword, the caster minions will take maybe 2 autos to be killed, right? So I don't need to focus. I can just take a quick glance at the health bar and know, okay, then I'll just kill it at this time. So now I have time to focus on the enemy champions. If what are their movements like? Are they trying to make a move on me? So that's what I want to focus on more. So you got to put in those hours. Like I don't even recommend practice tool. I think practice tool is dumb. You need to actually get in a real normal game and to put in the hours to understand how to CS better and how to like position yourself better. So once you get those things down, then you can focus on the more important things. And like with ADC, it's not dishing out damage, it's staying alive and then dishing as much damage as possible. Your first concern is staying alive because you need to dish out the most damage. But if you're focusing too much on, dishing damage and not respecting how much more health does that minion have, then you're just gonna kill yourself.
All
And then
right.
you fail
So
with
like
ADC.
whenever you say there's some key words that you use there, and the first one is focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're starting to say, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with the word focus, is you go on autopilot on the things that you need to be able to do implicitly that don't require constant mental evaluation. And
Yeah.
that frees you up to focus on the things that do require constant reevaluation, like
Mm-hmm.
being able to trade, or can I all in here, or where is my jungler? You know, these kind of things are things you need to be constantly reevaluating. And I find whenever I say don't go on autopilot, I mean don't just sit there and play League and go, okay, well, they're over here,
Hmm.
I'm over here, I'm going to click this minion, I'm going to click that minion. We're not doing anything, and I'm not thinking about the game. I'm not analyzing anything. I'm not focusing on what the gameplay is. I'm just doing,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
Because that gets you into a sedentary pattern versus being
mhm.
on an active one.
Yeah, like there's things in the game that are always gonna like, stay true to what they like when they're gonna come. Like this wave's gonna come at this time. That's never gonna change. Or you know the jungle timers because everyone has that information. So as if you manage to master those things, then you can go on autopilot about things. Then you focus on champions. You know the undeciding variable. You don't know what's gonna happen. Where are they? Right. So if you know like there's a camp coming up maybe and your jungler's like too far away, maybe put a ward near to their camp. So then you can prepare to change if that jungler wants to come in and take that camp. You know, stuff like that.
Cool. Okay, so what else could it free up you have? Bleh. That was a horrible sentence. What else could
It's
it
okay. We'll
free
edit
you
it
up
out.
to do what?
I said we'll edit it out. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
we'll totally edit it out. 10 to
It's
1,
gonna be gone.
that hits the editing room floor. It's just gone. It's just
We're gonna edit out just that part and leave in the explanation of the fact that we're editing it out for
oh, that'll
the
be
most
confusing.
confusing
Yeah, people are
auditory
gonna be like,
experience
"What did they
possible.
remove?" But
Yeah, you'll never
realistically,
know.
none of that shit's getting edited. So let's say that you have mastered CSing, you've mastered kind of laning and what that feels like, right? Which is the path that I took whenever I learned support. Is man, I'm gonna learn how to CS. I'm gonna learn how to trade. I'm gonna learn how to put pressure, stand on minion waves, zone people off.
Hmm.
And what I didn't learn is how to anticipate a jungle gank,
Hmm.
right? And so I kept getting wrecked by junglers. And then that became well, now I need to really focus on warding at specific time windows and watching my ward timer and making sure that I have wards out when it's appropriate and that I don't get lazy on that and that I keep looking at the map, right?
Hmm.
So, the map. How is it that game awareness impacts my ability to pull things from the minimap?
Well, it's information. I know you guys said this last week. Like information, like it's whatever you can be as good as whatever you do with it. And if you don't do anything with it, then it's useless. I know my rule of thumb is like try to check the mini map like every 5 seconds. That's my thing.
Okay,
Um,
so there's a YouTube video that I should
mhm.
probably link or embed in our thing where it's just literally somebody going map, map,
Oh, I think is that like
map.
what's that
Like,
that guy that did the dog? Is it like the conditioning thing?
yeah, like
The
Pavlov's
whistler.
dog.
Pavlov.
Pablo,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pavlov's
That's like
dog.
the same. That's like the same thing. Somebody posted on Reddit like years ago, like get like a timer and make it go off, and you'll condition yourself to check the map all the time.
Right, and that's what it is. He doesn't say it at the same 5 second intervals. Sometimes it's like 3 seconds, sometimes it's
Hmm.
like six, but he just constantly says map, and it's every time he says it, you're supposed to look down at the mini map, right?
Hmm.
So the idea there being is that you're conditioning yourself to do something that you normally wouldn't, and if your game is like I don't know under control enough that you don't feel the need to look at the screen constantly, then you have the ability to actually do that and absorb
Hmm.
knowledge. Like
Th-
there's so many times where my comfort with a champion and my like I don't know, comfort with my role even has enabled me to like free up my mind to be like, okay, well, where's the jungler at? Okay, well, let's look at the map and see where all the wards are. Let's see where is there pressure. Is somebody missing top? Are they missing mid? Do I need to worry
Hmm.
about a gank? Do I need to worry about roams? That is something that whenever I was leveling through gold, I had zero sense of. Like I was super susceptible to all of that shit. People would just appear, and I'd be like,
Hmm.
"Well, fuck." And the traditional response is like, "Dumbass mid laner, tell me your mid's gonna roam." You know, And they're like,
And
no.
just proceed to missing ping like 12 times.
Yeah, like bing, 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 bing,
Well,
question marks mid, but that's
now
my
that was
fault.
before the question mark ping, dude. When you were in gold, wasn't it? Or maybe not.
Yeah, I know it was before those, but I
That's
mean,
old school shit.
that's old school shit. But no, we
You
used to
remember how
just write
exciting?
SS, which I never understood. What the
Exciting?
fuck does SS supposed to mean?
Summoner
Oh
spell?
shit! I used to know. No, there's something else. I used to know. Oh, it. I think it was a really retarded abbreviation of missing, where that for some reason they abbreviated the middle of it.
what?
I know.
That
I
actually
remember hearing
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I remember hearing
Or
that
MIA. You
explanation
can
like
say
a
MIA.
million years ago, and like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But that's how I remember it being
Yeah,
explained.
because I mean, everybody used to just write SS or MIA, and it'd be like
At
MIA
least
question mark.
MIA is
Thanks,
like
Dick.
Makes sense.
at least
And
MIA doesn't just feel like a mental keyboard barf.
Mhm.
Like
yeah,
it's like somebody clearly like it has a coherent thought here. So I appreciate them for writing it out. Yeah, the other thing I was gonna say is like I started playing top lane seriously this season, which I hadn't played for like 5 seasons. So I had to kind of relearn map awareness from a different role.
Mhm.
Like I didn't really like my map awareness was really good as a jungler for the most part, but when I switched to top lane, it got significantly worse because I just had other shit to think about. I had to think about the 1v1 matchup. I had to think about CSing. I had to think about all this other stuff. And so I would get ganked constantly. I was like if I was the jungler against me, I would have constantly been ganking me too. But I worked hard enough on learning the specifics of playing top lane that after I felt comfortable as a top laner, I was able to go back and really focus on just my map awareness because I rushed to the unconscious competency stage faster than most people would because I've done it before in other roles. I did it on jungle. I got to the unconscious competency level in jungle, and I already have a good grasp of the game, so it was a lot easier for me to get there than somebody starting from scratch. But once I got there, I could then start putting more effort on the things that you have to constantly pay attention to, like jungle pressure.
I'm pretty sure level 2 ganks were like pretty like frequent until like what 8.12 or 8.10, whenever the jungle changes went through. Like that was
season is
hated
a
that shit.
travesty. I have.
This season has actually been. I am not even playing ranked right now until this shit just pans out a little bit. I just hate this. It's not.
But
fun.
is it going to get better, Blake?
No, not for
No,
a
it's
while.
not.
I think they're just kind of embracing it like it's the ardent censor of this season. Like they can look back and be like, "Hey, do you remember that time the league went all crazy and everybody played everything there? Wasn't that so awesome?"
You see, like I don't mind the meta like this. I don't really mind.
Ugh.
I don't think it's that
Well, like
bad.
here's the thing.
It's gotta
I don't
evolve.
mind that you have the unique opportunity to play some shit in places, right? Like that's cool. That's
Well
fine.
said.
I don't mind that. What I mind is that has created a rubber band effect where people are playing bad shit in everywhere, right? So it's like, oh, well, I can play anything. I might as well just play Rumble in the jungle.
I actually play that sometimes.
That used to be a thing.
I know it used to
pretty
be a
good.
thing. That was the first thing I thought of that I thought was kind of bad. Or I'll just play Nidalee support. Nidalee support is definitively not that good. It
All right,
can
Nidalee
work.
support is actually really good, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay. Please. Shoot.
Wow.
Top
You
5
convinced me.
reasons.
Yeah.
Why is it good?
Top 5 reasons. Number 1, I got autofilled. Number 2, I really wanted to play Nidalee jungle. Number 3, what are you gonna do? Dodge? Number 4, this is my Smurf account. And number 5, fine, I'll take exhaust. Those are my 5 reasons.
Okay, that was actually pretty, like,
Nice job, man.
I give you it. That was well played. Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to play Nidalee support next time we play together. When you
Well, to
play
go back-
Yi ADC with teleport, I'll just play
Dude,
Nidalee support.
all right, wait, that might actually be legit. You rush Ardent Sensor and like Athene's, and then I go Master Yi with Ginsu's, and then
Kale or Targ support.
hell yeah, no, it's Nidalee support. Remember,
Medley support, man.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
with Ardent
Oh,
Athenes.
the heals, yeah, the heal.
Yeah, we got heals, we got ranged auto attacks, we have cats. Everybody likes cats. They're always on Reddit.
They are always on Reddit.
So I mean, yeah, you got like the Reddit team comp. It was ready to go. Just Nedley supporting the shit out of that.
Maybe
But I mean,
maybe
no, I
that's
mean,
what we've been missing this season, Blake, is the Yi Nidalee bot lane.
yeah, it just took us this long to
That's
figure it out. Do you know like Ivern Rengar funnel is like tearing
Yeah.
up the game
Oh,
right
yeah.
I mean,
Like-
Dakar's been playing that for like years, so I'm not surprised.
now? Yeah,
I've
so it's
I've
like-
seen that shit since like 2017 or 2016 even.
But anyway, so let's talk about the last bit of. So we've talked about getting better at skills that enable you to kind of snowball into having more awareness in the moment. We've talked about awareness giving you the ability to look at the map and extract information from that. Now, I want to talk about the last component of this, and that's being aware of things to a degree that the absence of things gives you information. Right? So, for example, my opponent is doing something different in lane, or they're favoring a certain side of the lane, or I know that their blue buff is gone, or this scuttle crab has been taken recently. Like, all of these things is basically I'm not seeing someone, but if they aren't there, then they need to be elsewhere, right? Like, I have an absence of information. I don't know where the jungler is, but I know that my mid laner is favoring the bottom side and they don't have it warded, right? So why is she doing that? You know, or like I know that all of a sudden the bot lane that's been playing super far passively back is now like getting into trading range. Well, why are they doing that? Like, well, clearly something else must be going on here. There must be a piece of information that I don't know. So that piece of information, the absence of information, cues me into information that I should have. Right?
hmm
And that's extracting game knowledge from missing circumstances. Right? So, Michael, I've actually seen you do this with Tryndamere, where you would push the shit out of the lane and then go farm a jungle camp, and push the shit out of the lane and go farm like a different jungle camp, right? Back when you used to
Correct.
take Smite Tryndamere, right?
Still do,
So
bitch.
yeah, in
Um,
that scenario, right? If I'm a top laner, I'm like, this asshole took Smite. Why the fuck would he do that? What a moron, right? And then you come back to lane and you're level 5, and I go,
Right.
oh shit. And I
Well,
get my ass
Tryndamere's
kicked.
Tryndamere's essentially a PvE champion, anyways. So if you can just lean into that, and I heard they did some weird shit with the patch this patch that's supposed to make that not a thing or something. I haven't read the patch. I don't know. Somebody
only
was telling me
buffed him.
about it.
All they did was buff him. They buffed his E.
No. They did something with the like something with Smite interaction on laners. I heard. I don't know. I didn't actually read the patch. This is all secondhand information, and I didn't account the first time. But anyways, yeah. I mean, the thing is, when you go higher up in elo, like the real strength of this strat comes from when you're able to steal a camp at level 1. Like if you're able to steal a buff at level 1, you're going to be super strong. And most of the time when I was playing in like silver and gold with the strategy, I was able to. But the higher up you go, the more likely people are to realize that you're going to go for a buff at level 1, and they like go stand there with their jungler and try to cheese kill you at level 1. But it was all when I would run that strategy. It's just all about understanding. Like it helps to come from a jungle background if you're gonna play that type of a strategy. You don't need to come from a jungle background, but it helps because I knew way more about pathing and way more about kind of what good jungling looks like. And the thing is, like, when you're playing against high-ranked players who are going to do the optimal play most of the time, it becomes somewhat easier to play against them and predict what they're going to do. Because if somebody always does the optimal play, then it's no longer the optimal play because you can predict it and counter it. So if you assume that they're going to be taking their camps right when they respawn, you can meet, or like within 20 or 30 seconds of them respawning, you can try to beat them to the camp and take it first and then smite it and leave. Or you can, if you know that they're on the bottom side of the map, and likewise you can take advantage of bad jungling, because if they're on the bottom side of the map and it's 4.5 minutes into the game and you know they started red buff on the purple team, you know they started red buff and then did a full clear because of how they showed, you know that at about 4:30 their raptor camp is spawning and you can push out and go take that. So like, and those are things that you have to be subconsciously aware of. You can't just like, I'm just gonna take smite top lane and then like hope that it works out, and I'm gonna try to steal camps sometimes. Like, you have to set up the situations for it to be good on your own. You have to know, you have to have a game plan going into it, and you have to, it's where, you know, your subconscious and your conscious competency meet, kind of, because on the one hand, I have an internal clock for League of Legends where I like if you were to put tape over my timer, I could give you a, like, I'd say within 45 seconds to a minute, or maybe even closer, I could tell you when the buffs are respawning for the first time. You know what I mean?
You should hear Michael keep time with a wood block. Perfect.
Yeah, I do Himalayan throat singing every minute of the game. When the clock striketh 3, you know, I'm belting out an ancient mountain song to keep time.
Old George Michael Largent.
That's what they call me.
So,
going back to what Blake said about because it just popped in my head. You know, about your laner acting funny. That's like it's not even just about like getting jungle camps. If you notice, like, even this works in any lane, if your laner was pushing hard, or like they've been matching you right in the middle, and then now they're being more passive, you can expect a gank in the next minute or so for sure. Because especially if you know that their jungler was in another lane like a minute ago, there's a good chance they're going to try to come and punish you. So you always want to watch your enemy. Watch, like, learning their movement is one thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah, that was like back in the day. That was when everybody was really, really bad at League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
If you were like good at the game at all, you were like really good at the game. That's it's a bygone era where Rain Man was considered to be good at League of Legends. This is a very long time ago, and but like Hotshot GG was so good at reading people's in-game body language and reacting to their
Tells.
like reacting, yeah, exactly, reacting to their tells. Like, he would react better than anybody else to ganks when he had no information. Like, he could just tell by the way they were moving. Now, granted, if you stick a modern player into the same situation, who's like diamond or above, they could probably also extrapolate the same information. But this was back before the game was as understood and as optimized as it is today. But some people just have like a natural talent for reading people's movements and stuff. But yeah, it was just a blast from the past or something. I don't know.
Okay, so one more thing I do want to talk about is, you know, whenever I say extract information from something unknown, you can also extract information from abnormality, right? So if Michael's taking smite, turn the mirror top, I'm like, well, that's abnormal. I wonder what he's going to do with that. Well, clearly he's going to be trying to hard push and pass jungle, right? So you need to think of what your counterplay is going to be for that. Are you a champion that hard shoves back? Are you a champion that, are you going to get with your jungler and try to punish, you know, jungle roaming and invades? Right? Like, what's your game plan on how you're going to deal with that? Did their ADC take teleport bottom? Well, then you know you're dealing with a fucking idiot if you're below diamond, right? So you should take advantage of that guy's obvious mental deficiencies and beat his brain into the ground, right? Or
Are they
what little
playing
brain he has. Because
Are
it's
they playing
probably just
Nidalee
rotten.
support?
It's
They're
probably
really
just
mad.
rot
Camp the
brain.
shit out of them.
You know, I feel like I should just go take, Jin TP bot and just like show you that I can do it.
Okay. I'm not of the opinion that it can't be done, right? You can wipe your ass with sandpaper. It can be done. It's just not a good idea, right? So,
Mhm.
like, I can shave with a rusty fish scaler. It's not a good idea. It can happen. We could do it. I could be the best guy in the world at shaving with a rusty fish scaler. And it still doesn't matter because my face is going to get all fucking torn up and I'm probably going to get tetanus and I'm still going to smell like fish even if I did it right. Right? I
You
mean,
want to get tetanus? Go get tetanus, bro.
yeah, I mean, just go jam some rusty metal in your leg. Just go first hand. You don't need to try to do some crazy shit and end up getting tetanus. Fuck. Leave some metal out in the rain. Go to town. But it can be done. I'm not saying it can. I'm not saying there aren't situations in which it is optimal. I think the current LCS meta is what makes it optimal, right? But that is the game being played at a different level than what the average player is playing. And unless you understand what you are emulating, don't just emulate,
Hmm.
right? Like understand.
You don't want to be that guy that me and Blake saw that was playing. This was a while ago, but this guy had placed the ward that you place behind. What was it? Remember when at LCS they would place the ward in between the tier 2 and the inhibitor tower
Mm-hmm.
in order with the
Yeah.
purpose of the purpose of
Yeah.
scouting out lane swaps, and it
Mhm.
had absolutely nothing to do with solo queue. It had no bearing on solo queue, but we still would have people do it in their games because they saw it in the LCS.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, because
emulating
people
things that you
weren't.
saw.
They were only lane swapping at the highest point in the game because it takes 5-man coordination and like jungler has to show up and you have to
You have to
pre-prep the wave so that
you have
three
to
waves
not be the
crash at
type of
once.
person that eats socks to make it work, which kind of discounted the vast majority of League of Legends players.
Yeah.
There were lots of reasons why it didn't.
So I mean, all of those things, like everything that we just said, is all about knowing why you're doing something and not just emulating something that you see and then just doing that thing, right? Because you are not even consciously competent at why that is good, right? And
Hmm.
you're just being consciously incompetent of something and never moving towards conscious competence or unconscious competence. You're just sticking yourself there, right? Because you saw somebody else do it. And that's emulation can be good to learn as long as you understand what it is you're emulating, because you'll never get to a next level until you get the why behind it, right? And how I'm talking about transferring that information into knowledge or into a drive to do something. If I see the other ADC took teleport, right? Then I'm going to try to engage them in a 2v2 all in as soon as possible, knowing that we have 2 summoner spells and they have 1. Because I have heal, I have ignite. They have ignite or exhaust.
Yeah,
That's it.
but Blake, when they respawn, they're gonna get to lane super fast.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
get
have
level
to make
6
sure I
for you.
really push
Then you're
that.
screwed.
So then I can come back, and it's not gonna make a
The long con.
difference because whatever. But that kind of stuff, like every time we have both summoners up, I should be trying to fight an all in because I know I have an advantage. Right? Like that's the kind of way I should extract that information from what I see. Right?
Hmm.
And what's not there. Like I said, heal isn't there. Information, advantage. Right? And if you're processing or thinking about things like that, you will climb in League of Legends. It's kind of hard not to, as long as you can execute things. Right? So, whenever they say CS your way out of bronze, this podcast is literally discussing what that means. Right? Because
Yeah,
if
and the
you
problem
can't
and the problem
CS, you can't do anything else.
yes. When your
Baby
CS gets
steps.
better, you've improved in so many different areas that it looks like you just got better at CSing,
Hmm.
but really you got better at like 50 things, and that are all tied to CSing, and getting better at those 50 things made your CS better. But CS is one of the few useful, measurable signs of improvement in League of Legends. Like, you don't really have a way of knowing that you have better map awareness or better skirmishing or something like that, you know? You just kind of have it. There's no real, like, there's no numerical indicator that you have
Map.
better map awareness. Exactly. Better
But
map.
once you
Map.
master CSing, then you can focus on map awareness and all those other things
Mhm.
because you don't got to focus on CSing.
I mean,
Exactly.
there is a reason that I've hammered. League is like building a pyramid. You have to put down your base level blocks, then your next level, then your next level, and your next level, and your next level, and you build up off that to reach the highest point of gameplay. Right? Like, that's how you progress, that's how you get better. And the reason that it is like that is because you are stacking things. And you can't stack a skill on a block that doesn't exist. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
I guess I just have one more question before we wrap this up.
hmm
Do I really have to unlock my camera to
Okay,
get
my
better?
God, I got that question in Discord this week, and I've literally answered this a million times, but now I'll answer it 1,000,001 times. Fuck yes, you have to fix your camera. You cannot play this game effectively with locked camera
Mhm.
because you literally lose a ton of relevant information. And that fits in so well in the context of this discussion that it's like you have to be an informational sponge to play League of Legends well. Like, you have to do that, right? So why would you limit what you can see on the screen to being half good information and half useless information, right? And the only reason, if you're being completely honest with yourself, that you're not taking off locked camera is because you are being too lazy to fix it, and it makes the game easier for you to play, right? But
In the
that
short
shit
term.
is a glass ceiling. While it is easier for you to play without moving your camera, right? Not developing that skill puts a limit onto how much you can achieve out of this game.
It's really not that hard. It takes maybe 20 games to get used to it. It's not. It's quick.
I don't even think it takes that many. Like, I think it's something that you could do in 10 games, but you have to be committed to actually
If
doing
you
it.
if you unbind your lock camera button, learn it real fast.
That's
You
what I
already
made
know,
Ashley
Bronze.
do.
Yeah.
She kept like cheating back to the lock camera mode, and I'm like,
And
nope.
the thing is,
unbind
like,
that
I
shit.
don't even play with fully locked or unlocked camera. Like, my camera's actually locked a significant portion of the time, but I probably lock and unlock my camera like 30 times per minute or something. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
using liberal use of the space bar,
I
basically.
actually have it on
Yeah.
Y, but yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
man.
weird,
One of
but
those
it
people.
works.
I just press
That's
spacebar. I just
that's
press
what my
space and I
emote
forget where
button
I am.
is. That's how I send pretty pictures to express my emotions to people.
Yes, but did you know that if you are emoting, then fuck you? Did you know
I
that?
am unconsciously competent at sending out emotes to express my emotional state to
I
everyone
just
around
I
me.
just put missing pings. They'll
Yeah.
never know.
Ping, 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 ping. Thanks, asshole. So anyway, I didn't actually get around to saying this because I was in the middle of a rant and then we kind of moved on. But if you are bitching at somebody because they didn't call MIA, you do realize that's your fault, right? Like, it's your fault. You didn't look at the map. They don't owe you an MIA, right? That's like walking down the sidewalk and tripping and then yelling at the guy across the street that he didn't tell you there was a pothole there.
There's literally a comic where the guy is riding a bike and he
Oh
like puts
yeah,
a
that
stick in
meme.
his spokes and then falls over and then blames it on someone else. That's actually a comic that's been around for like a
They
million
use that and
years.
they meme it and just say, "I blame my jungler for every
Yeah,
lane I lost."
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it's been changed so many times over but
So yeah, I mean, guys, if you're not looking at the map, if you don't see that that guy is MIA, like if you're ever playing with me in a community game or something like that, and I get ganked by the mid laner, you're never gonna hear me be like, "Where's the MIA?" Right? Like, "Oh, thanks for telling me that guy's here." Most of the time, I'm not gonna say anything at all. I'm just gonna be like, "Fuck, I fucked up and I didn't notice he was gone. My bad." Like, because that's what's going through my head right now. And people will be like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you." And I'll be like, "Okay, like that's fine, but it's really something I need to fix. I should have noticed that, right?" And people be like, "Oh, that's so nice." I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm just being honestly hard on myself because that's how you improve, right? Is you're honest and straightforward with yourself, and you recognize something as a problem that you need to fix, right? Like
yeah, but have
Michael
you
and his
considered
lighting, right? It's a problem
Blake?
that
I
needs
don't
to
have
be
a
fixed.
problem. I am living an alternative lifestyle.
You look like you're
Hey,
hunting the Blair Witch.
maybe I am, Blake. Maybe that's what I'm doing right after this, and I'm just. It's like
Everybody who's like
you know how
30 or
pirates
over is
you
gonna
know how
love that
pirates would
Blair
wear
Witch
eye
reference.
patches. Listen, pirates would wear eye patches because when they went below deck, there was
Right,
no like lights back in those days, so you take the eye patch off and it was already acclimated to the darkness. That's me right now, but
right.
for
And
hunting
so for the
witches.
YouTube channel, people wear an eye patch in case they want to see what the fuck you're doing right now versus Ollie and I, who actually have appropriate lighting. So that's
I am
totally makes
shrouded in
sense.
mystery.
All right. Well, with that, we'll wrap up the podcast right now. This one's been long, but thanks, Ollie. I appreciate you coming on the show.
A lot of fun.
We are going to do this again. That was good. I really enjoyed, Ollie actually sent in the application like you're supposed to the show, so I feel like we should reward that and bring him on again because I thought this was actually pretty fun. So,
So
Wait, people never.
little
Wait, I'm the one
Johnny,
that actually sent an application.
yeah, yeah, everybody else I already knew.
Oh, okay.
so little
Yeah.
Johnny, what was your favorite episode of League of Legends Anonymous? I liked the one where they brought that new guy and then talked about corn for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Ollie did kind of roll with the punches on the. See, that's the first test of a podcaster is whether I can go on a 20-minute aside that has nothing to do with League of Legends, and you're still here at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the episode, right? And he made it. He made it.
He sure did.
You
Awesome.
realize that this is an hour and 20-minute long episode?
Yeah, I know. I gotta piss so badly, guys. You don't understand.
Welcome to the podcast, Ollie.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna pause the steal so Ollie can urinate, and I hope everyone has a good night, everybody.